excuse me, please take 2 minutes to turn off your cell phones. For the next 45 minutes, please do not text. Please be considerate of our speaker and leave after the Q&A, which will end sharply at 9:28. I know that a bunch of you have to leave at exactly around that time. Trust me, we end promptly at 9:28. Today is a very special event, and this is a program I have wanted to do for maybe 5 or 6 years. I have always been concerned about HR's role in the organization's productivity. And, you know, HR is in charge of labor. Labor is probably your organization's largest expense. HR should be king. HR should be king. And why is HR not king of the organization? So today we have John Roulet. He's devoted his life to this subject. And he's here from North Carolina to tell you how to reposition HR in your organization by paying attention to productivity and related issues. Although he's currently working on a project in North Carolina, you might think about lining him up for your own organization. I don't know. He's very impressive. Take notes. You have a notepad in your folder. And you also have handouts that John has provided. And they are right behind the, let's see, I don't know where they are in your folder. Right behind the notepad is John's handouts. That's what it looks like. Okay, take it away, John. Let's give him a round of applause. Yay.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, all. Can you hear me well? Okay. We're going to do a lot of exercises together. This really won't be much lecture. I'm really too insecure to just kind of talk at people for an hour and really, so I'd rather hear from all of you. For decades, HR has, a lot of discussions about HR doesn't have a seat at the table, it's marginalized and all that kind of thing. Today, I want to provide us with some tools, some insights, and learning opportunities to change that, to begin a journey where HR, again to Kate's point, really can be the driving force in the organization to ensure optimal productivity. And that journey begins, if one is going to be at the table, you got to provide something of distinct value. And HR can do that, and it begins with understanding our purpose. So if we can move to that second page, let's get real clear about the purpose of human resources. If I were to ask, I don't know, there's at least 100 of us here today. If I were to ask everyone to jot down or say, what's the purpose of HR? How many answers do you think I'd get from HR folks? But I might have heard 250 or something said, yeah, we're unclear about our purpose. That doesn't make sense. 21st century, HR has been around long enough. We got to get clear. What is the purpose of HR? Purpose of HR is the cost-effective employment of people. That's why HR exists. You go to your CEO and say, I'm here. The reason we have an HR function is to ensure this organization can cost-effectively employ people. By the way, anyone have a problem with it? Raise your hand, shout out at any time if you have any questions, concerns, debates on some of these things. Another key concept that we want to bring to the organization is leadership. Leadership is something that gets thrown around in the organization. We can put ourselves out in front of the organization when we can bring clarity and meaning to key concepts. One of those is leadership. I think this is an important tool for us to all have when we go back today. If I were to ask, what's our definition of leadership? We'd have a multitude of definitions. Organization, 21st century needs one definition. That definition of leadership is the quality of work of a leader. It's that simple. Leadership is the quality of a leader's work. That's the definition of leadership. It's going to be measured along 3 dimensions, 3 criteria. If you want to determine if someone is a leader, and this lecture part, by the way, is going to last a couple more moments, and then we'll get into the exercises. Didn't want you to think I lied to you. 3 dimensions, we determine the quality of a leader's work. Accomplishment. Leaders accomplish great things. Second, cost-effective use of resources in doing so. And third, protection of group values. Bring that back to your organization. Bring that kind of concept back, and you're starting to bring something of distinct value, because no one else is going to be clear about what leadership looks like in your organization. Another thing that you can bring back, these are just some quick tools for you. It's just the beginning of a journey. Everyone uses the word strategy. Again, no one's clear what it is. Bring back to your organization, this is what strategy is and this is what it isn't. Strategy is the competitive decisions and actions designed to achieve a desired position. When we think strategically, it's competition. It's not just doing something over the long term, it's competitive. And another key concept to take with you all is management, something else that is used, but also often misdefined and used in a variety of ways. Management is the cost-effective use of resources. When something is well managed, resources are used wisely, and that is a key component of being a leader. Management is a subcomponent of leadership. Lastly, performance management. It's often used, but often misunderstood. It's often just thought of as the same thing as performance appraisal. It is not. Managing performance in an organization is ensuring four things: that performance is managed along financially well, satisfied customers who perform in the way we want them to, effective internal operations, delivering the products and services that satisfy our customers, that engage them in desired behaviors such as buying, recommending, those kind of things that drives financial performance. And lastly, this is the HR piece, the performance of people. That's performance management, ensuring that an organization is strong financially, has satisfied customers performing in the way we want them to, strong internal operations, and a well-performing staff. This is based on a model called the balanced scorecard. I've made some modifications to Norton & Kaplan's model, but their model is just brilliant. That's performance management. It's not just performance appraisal. It's not synonymous with that. Okay, enough of this. Let's jump in. We've been talking about performance and performance management. It is therefore necessary for us to understand the concept of performance. This is a simple, powerful training that you can take back to your organization that sets the stage. It's the first thing that every manager needs to know, but amazingly, we don't learn. What is performance? Normally, when you go back to your organization, what I'll ask is participants to read the material, but it's just this type of venue doesn't allow for that, so I'll do a little bit more of the reading. So our objective is you'll be able to identify what performance is, what it is not. Key principles. When we develop training, I would advise you to always include key principles. You'll bring your learners in by saying, yes, I agree with this. And so let's look at this. If managers are responsible for managing performance, they must know what performance is and what it is not. Anyone disagree with that? You in agreement? Yes. All right. Performance is behaviors and outcomes. And a behavior is an observable action of a living organism. Which of the following are behaviors? He's walking. I need you to speak up, or I'm going to get so insecure again. Yay or no? Yes. All right, all right. He's talking. Yes. She's happy. Why not? Someone said it's a feeling, right? We might infer someone is happy because they're smiling or something like that. How many times in the course of our weekday do we smile and we are feeling anything but happy? I spent more than the last year doing that. All right, she's smoking. Yes. She's sad. No. She's cheerful. She's yelling. Yes. She's fighting. Yes. He's eating. Yes. She's energetic. A little hesitance. We got a maybe. There you go. Come out. She's energetic. We got some yeses, some nos. Yes, no. This is designed to be a curveball one. What does an energetic look like?
Jumping up and down.
Jumping up and down, excuse me?
Forceful.
Forceful? Okay. But what are jumping up and down? Are there any other reasons why someone might jump up and down?
Yes.
Okay. Forceful. Is that a behavior?
No.
Yeah, cheerful, we infer cheerful because of actions we see. But for example, we would not, and this is an important thing, our receptionist, for example, we might not tell him, and we won't want to tell him, your job is to be cheerful. He might be going through some very difficult times in his life. What we will want to say is you need to smile at customers when they come in. Greet them in this way. Not be cheerful necessarily. We often have to play a different role that contradicts how we feel inside. Very important thing, because we don't want to manage people. We manage their performance, their behaviors, and their outcomes. Let them be who they are. Okay, he's arrogant. No, he arrived late. Okay. Let's, if you would, take a moment and list the behaviors under each of these 2 items. As we're short on time in filming, I'm just going to only give you about 15 seconds. Okay, volunteer, please. How about the first one?
The guy smiling and giving you a finger.
Smiling and, well, raising a finger. Raising a finger, very good. Anything else? He's hurt. Anyone agree? Disagree? It's not. Yeah, and that's the... is actually, we don't know if he's hurt. We're inferring it, but he could be faking it, right? All we know is he's holding up a finger. When we say he's hurt, we're now talking about the individual and a feeling, in this case. But so, holding up a finger, yeah. How about the next one? We have shopping. Carrying bags. Smiling. Okay. Shopping is indeed a behavior. Would we all agree? However, do we know she's shopping? Even behaviors are sometimes, it's absolutely behavior, but sometimes we do make inferences that a behavior occurs, but maybe we could be wrong. But indeed, shopping is behavior, but maybe not in this case. Well done on that. Well done. Here's the tricky part of this. It's really natural for us to assess people based on who we believe they are, their traits and their emotions. It's necessary for our survival. You need to quickly assess whether someone's a threat or whether they can bring value to you. It's the only way our species and other species survives. However, in the 21st century business environment, it is an obstruction, and we need to subordinate that instinct to a more objective approach to work, observing performance. And so we won't ignore this, that we do want to quickly assess people based on their traits or emotions. So let's practice that. We did so well on the first exercise. Let's make this next one a little more challenging. By the way, we'll, for each of these items, determine whether it's a trait or emotion. You don't need to distinguish between trait or emotion or a behavior. A trait is a personal characteristic. It's something that's consistent over time. An emotion is an internal psychological state that's often a response to something in the environment. Okay, so for each item, let's determine, is it a behavior or is it a trait or emotion? Driving a car. Well done. She's pleasant. A punctual girl. A little more hesitant on that one. What might that is indeed a trait. It is indeed a trait. How might we ascribe that trait to someone? What kind of behaviors would we have observed? There you go. Was on time every time. But again, we want to stay away from that. She's running. He's annoying. He's stupid. Trait. Sorry, I zoned out for like a second, I swear. He's arguing. We got a couple. We're hearing behavior, heard some traits.
Argumentative.
Everyone hear this? Your name is? Deirdre. Way to go. She's, all right, and here's the key that Deirdre pointed out for us. Arguing is indeed a behavior. We can see it. If someone constantly arguing, we might say that individual is argumentative. That would be a trait. Again, but that's not performance. Someone can indeed be very argumentative. They come into work, though, they're not, or they can subordinate it. All right. Late again. But this one's split right down the middle, isn't it? I love this one. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's say that I was supposed to be here at 8:30, and same thing last month. We were all together last month. Last month I walked in at 8:45. What might you say when I walked in the door last month? He's late. I walk in today, 8:45. You see me do that. What might you say? He's late again. Behavior. You didn't describe me, right? You didn't say this guy's never, you said he's late again. That is indeed a behavior. It is indeed a behavior. Does it make sense? All right. You'll find, if you bring this back to it pulls from within us. And that's that's what makes us so strong in HR is we unleash things. We pull from within people things that they already know or that have been buried in there. Kate said something with the with the coaches on her team. There's so much unlearning to do, and that's a lot of what our work in HR is all about, is unlearning. And pulling out the real valuable stuff that's deep within us. And that's what you'll find through this exercise, and a few others will do. Slam the door. Behavior. He's lazy. Cursing. Sleeping. Well done. And let's just get very quickly, I'd like to just go back to punctual, that kind of thing. When we have on a performance appraisal, and this is particularly important for HR people, if we have performance appraisals that say something like, she is punctual, we've described the person, not their performance. And let's say over the next quarter, she misses 20 days and she gets terminated. And she decides to sue the company. She wouldn't, but let's say she did. Plaintiff's attorney has you on the stand and say, I have this performance appraisal here. And it says right on this performance appraisal, she's punctual. Yet you fired her for poor attendance. Were you lying then or are you lying now? See that we get ourselves in trouble when we start talking about people. Instead, what we would want to say is, she was on time every day during the quarter or whatever. Stay away. It's about performance, not people. Okay, let's forge ahead. The last thing here, outcomes. Remember, performance, two things only. Behaviors and outcomes. Behaviors and outcomes. Which of the following, and now we did so well. We did so well, let me do a quick time check too. Yeah, we're good. For each of these, let's determine, is it a behavior, is it trait or emotion, or is it a pure outcome? And when I mean pure outcome, you don't see a trait, an emotion, or anything. And that might become clear right up front. Okay, how about the first one, a paycheck? Well done. He's hardworking. Satisfied customer. Okay, if anyone thought a trait, that's also correct. It is definitely an outcome, but it is a customer emotion also. It's a customer emotion that we're trying to get so that they will engage in a certain behavior. So if you said either one, an outcome or an emotion, that's fine. Just understanding what it is. We're trying to, because it's strategy, we're trying to get, it's psychological warfare, and we're trying to make them happy, to get them to do something. So either one would have been great. Revenue. He's underrated. Right, a little tricky. We're describing a person. So in this case, as a curveball, we're describing a trait that we believe of them. The vessels were delivered on time. A vessel just being kind of a, well done. Cursor to supervisor. She interrupted the meeting. A closed sale. On-time delivery. Please take a moment, if you will, to create one of your own that we could add to this exercise. It can be a behavior, an outcome, or trait or emotion. Just if you create one, and if maybe one or two volunteers to throw one at us and see how we did. Defensiveness. Well done. Defensiveness. We have one trait. Trait? Are they right? Yes. She says it's a trait. Must be right.
Can I ask them to give me some behaviors?
Oh, well done. She wants some behaviors that one might say. And what's your name?
Karen.
Karen. Thank you for sharing that with us, Karen. What are some behaviors that one might say that makes, are defensive? Interrupting. I heard anger. Yay or nay on anger? I'm getting some. Excuses. Let's go back to anger for a moment. Is that a behavior? No. We might infer raising one's voice would be, correct? Sometimes we'll get in trouble when we even say something like, I can see you're being defensive, you're angry. It's like, I'm not angry, I just speak this way, and you've seen that, or big difference. Giving excuses.
High rolling.
Excuse me?
High rolling.
High rolling? Eye rolling. Oh, I was wondering, high rolling. I was like, that's what I aspire to be one day, high roller. Eye rolling, well done. That's a great point, Eye rolling is something that you can point to, is when you roll your eyes, it's really not respectful, or so. Well done. Were those good, Karen? I think they were, weren't they? Let's go with one more. Another volunteer? Please. Your name?
Judy.
Judy.
I have a question. Is a problem solver somebody who's like a diagnostician or a problem solver? Is that a trait or a behavior or a different both?
Well done. Well done.
What's the question?
I knew you were going to, that's right, you warned me about that. The question was a problem solver. Is that a trait or is it a behavior or what? A problem solver. It's a trait because we're talking about an individual. You're a problem solver. We're talking, and performance would be about talking about behaviors, in which case we might say your job is to be a problem solver. That means identify the perceived problem, clarify exactly the performances that are occurring. Is there a gap? What is the impact of that gap, and so on? Do these behaviors. Make sense? Great question, thank you. All the way in the back, please. A complainer. A complainer. Maybe we've seen one or two of those in our organization. What is that? That is a trait. Tell an employee that they are complaining, and are they right?
I tend to think so.
You're right. All right. I'm sorry. I jumped in. I should have let you tell us. I blew it. But yeah, tell an employee they're a complainer, and you got someone who's upset. But as opposed to saying, look, you complained about this last week and then you did the same this week. We had this discussion. Let's try to get to the bottom of why we're meeting on this so often. A little bit different than labeling people. We want to try to stay away from that. All right. Let's see. Okay, let's do a few of these. Okay. This is some optional practice. I'm just going to bounce around. Would these be okay to write in documentation on a performance appraisal? Each item has to be completely correct, okay? And political correctness doesn't count in this exercise, all right? It doesn't have to be politically correct, structurally correct. Okay, how about the first one? Is this okay to write? Tom provided excellent customer service. Yes. No. Got some yeses and some nos. Well done. That's what this is all about. It's the thinking. It's not about the right answer. It's about the thinking. All right. Somebody who said yes. Why is that okay? Don't hide on me now. Okay. Tom provided customer service. Is that okay? No. It isn't specific. Okay, that's true. But we can define customer service. Let's really get specific then. Okay, it's an HR group, so I knew it was going to get, I should have known these curveballs. Tom answered the question correctly within 10 seconds. Okay. Tom did an excellent job when he answered the question within 10 seconds and was correct. Is that okay? Yes. This one's essentially saying the same thing. A supervisor is going to do two things. They're going to identify the performance, whether it's behavior or outcome, and they are hired to make judgments about the behavior or the outcome, not the individual. Your customer service was excellent. Okay? So those of you who pushed on like not clear enough, I hear you, okay? That you probably may want a little more clarity. Mark completed 2 tasks today. This is not acceptable. Yes. That's okay. See, we got 2 things. The behavior, an assessment of the behavior. Sally completed 12 tasks today. She's gifted and brilliant. Now, see the difference? All right. Sue is a great supervisor. No. No. And we could see something like that in a performance. No. Ellie got up and left the meeting before it was over. This was a rude thing to do. I'm just going to the next one. You'll see why. Ellie got up and left the meeting before it was over. I consider her to be rude. Are those 2 things different? Okay, do you see the difference? The first one is an assessment of the behavior. As a leader, as a supervisor, we're allowed to do that. Well done, gang. Well done. Forget the next. We'll get 8 right, but just to make sure. He was 15 minutes late on Friday. It shows he has a bad attitude. Okay, I thought so. The laugh should have given it away. Mark's performance is outstanding. Little louder, please. It is. It may not be crystal clear. Okay. It is similar to number 1. It is an assess. That one is okay. Okay. His performance is outstanding. We may want more information, but this is a short. It's a short exercise, so I can't put in too much. But his performance. It's all about his performance, not about him. Okay. And that line in itself might be something that we write.